What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and this is going to be like a rant, a ramble, just sharing my thoughts on Young, Famous, and African. Season 3 was released on January the 17th, and I watched episodes 1 through 4, and I just want to talk about them. So let's get into the video. All right, y'all. So, like I said in the intro, I just want to talk about episodes 1 through 4. I don't have any notes, so this is coming off the top of my dome. That's why I say it's more like a rant and a ramble. But let's get into it. So, episode 1, it starts off, we see Zari, the boss lady, getting married to her new husband Shakib. I think I'm saying his name correctly. He looked real young. When they show Zari's children, he looked like he could be one of their little friends. I said, I need y'all to start putting ages by these people's names, because I know y'all keep saying it's Young, Famous, and African, but these people, maybe it should be like, I don't know, just Famous and African, because ain't nobody on here really young other than Fantana, because she's 26. Everybody else is in like their like early 30s. Well, that technically I cuss for that as young. But majority of the class is like in their 40s. Good 40s. I only think maybe Lewis, Nadia, Fantana, and Kaylee are probably like between the like late 20s, early 30s range. Everybody else is giving 40 to me. So she's getting married. She invites everybody to her wedding. Mind you, the only person that didn't come from season 2 is Andile. Everybody else is back. So everybody's invited. Honestly, I thought the show was going to be a lot more upbeat, because Annie came in there with welcoming arms, hugged up on Swanky, hugged up on Nadia, and like she seemed happy. But then when you go to her confessionals, she's like, they all snakes. They're all horrible people, how they did me. How dare you be so fake? And I'm like, well, you're also being fake because you were the one that came to them to hug them. I'm confused. Honestly, Annie to me is in this like perpetual victim state where everybody is doing all these things to her, when it's like, do you ever just sit back and look at like the part that you played? Because you have played a part in this, bro, and you should like be honest about it. That's the part that's crazy to me. But I also think her being married to Tubaba and the way that man just be out here dogging her out has got it in her mind that she is a victim, when honestly, if you don't want to be with that man anymore, step away. Take your kids and step away. But it's just like you constantly want to be looked at, because I do think at some point people get used to being victims and feeding off of like the endorphins of people always rushing to save them and doting on them, and they get a high off of that. And that's what I feel like what it is with Annie, because I'm just like, girl, you did Swanky dirty last season, and you've done other people very dirty. Like, your behavior at this wedding was so immature. Like, granted, I did agree with her when she mentioned about Shakib looking the same ages as her older kids, because even I said that. But then to talk bad about the lady's like wedding venue and the reception and say that how she pretty much like stole from you from season 1, I thought that was disrespectful. And I agree with Nadia when she was just like, girl, why did you come if you was gonna have this energy? You know what I'm saying? And then to get into an argument with Nadia at Zari's wedding, when I was like, you could have definitely did that like out on another day. There didn't need to be you didn't need to fight with that lady, because Annie was mad that Nadia took Swanky's side. And Nadia was very upfront, like, girl, Swanky is my friend. Swanky is who I have personal conversations with. I told you last season, you're not my friend. And I meant that, because where have we ever connected? When have we ever been that close? So Annie gets angry because Nadia's not pretty much like apologizing to her or like conceding to her, feeling like her self-victimization, that she basically walks off and calls Nadia a witch. And Fantana is like, girl, what? Like, what just happened? So then it's the reception. We end up meeting this new girl named Kifi. I think that's how you say her name. She was Swanky's +1. Zari didn't like that because she felt like Kifi was trying to make a moment at her wedding, because she came into the wedding reception like this, looking for Swanky. Lo and behold, Swanky stopped responding to Kifi's text. So she was like, I was just trying to find him. Like, I wasn't trying to like, you know, post up and make a moment. But Zari didn't take it that way. And she tries to address Kifi when they meet up next with the whole entire group. So Lewis is there. He does something from a tradition from his culture. We see Naked and Kaylee there, and everybody's like, okay. So then you see Nadia tell Swanky about how Annie tried to read her rights, and she had to get that lady together. Then Swanky says in his confessional, I think Annie's going through a lot, and that's the issue. Annie always going through a lot, and y'all always give her a pass, and it's like she doesn't deserve a pass. Now, granted, there are some things that you should be empathetic and sympathetic towards her for, but everything can't lay upon her, and how she's being treated so badly by her husband when she could leave if she wanted to. But I think she likes the perks of being Tubaba's wife and claiming that because he still has status over there. So I'm just like, girl, okay. So the wedding is over, and then we have this sit down between Annie, Keefe, and Nadia. I think Keefe is throwing this like get together, which I thought was kind of weird because I was like, does anybody really like know her like that? But she invites everybody to the event, and I think the only person we don't see is Diamond or Kylie. I always get her name. Is it Kylie or Kaylee? I think it's Kaylee and Diamond. We do see a scene where Diamond meets up with DJ Naked, and they're talking at the barbershop, and Naked is asking him, why you ain't show up to the wedding? And Diamond lies and was like, I wasn't invited. I don't believe that. I do believe that Zari did invite him. He just didn't want to go see his girl get married, pretty much. So we're at this event that Keefe is throwing. It was really nice. It was like I think called like Black and Diamonds, and it was a vibe. It actually was a vibe, and everything was going good until Nadia and Annie got into it, where Nadia checks Annie, basically saying, you want me to treat you like an elder when, girl, you're probably only 6 or 7 years older than me. Like, you need to take accountability. You don't know how to take accountability. And that's when you see Annie in the confessional saying, why are you embarrassing me like this? Keefe is just sitting there like, girl, because Nadia and Keefe are actually friends. And Keefe was just like, you told me to watch out for the girls here, but now I got to watch out for Nadia. Because when Annie leaves, Nadia starts to get an attitude with Keefe because Keefe is like, girl, why are you so hostile towards her? And I do think that Nadia's mood was like up and down, because in some regards, there was a point where she was justified in her anger. And then in some moments, I said, girl, you doing a lot. Like, you do need to go to therapy, because the emotional regulation, it ain't there sometimes. It ain't there sometimes. But Annie storms out, and she's just like, I don't have to be here. I don't want to be here. And she leaves. Episode 2 opens up with, Keefe's event, and like everybody pulling up to the event and wondering like, okay, where's Annie? Why is she not here? And Nadia basically explained she had to read her rights, and everyone's like, girl, what? So then Zari takes this time to get at Keefe, basically being like, why did you come into my event doing all of this, trying to make a moment? And Keefe was like, girl, I wasn't trying to do that. That's when we find out that she was Swanky's +1, and Swanky stopped responding to her text, and she was trying to like find him. She was like, I was not trying to steal the moment from you. You had a beautiful wedding, a beautiful, like, it was lovely. Like, the vibes were vibing. It was lovely. So, Lewis is a lover boy. So he's at the event really eyeing up Keefe, just like, really feeling her energy, like just really, he like everybody. And Fantana even says that to Lewis, because I think, what's his name? Shakib basically lets it be known that Lewis likes Keefe. And Keefe said, I think he's confused. I don't think he liked me like that. And Lewis kind of has like this like uncomfortable laugh. And then Nadia chimes in, and she was like, well, didn't you tell me you had a girlfriend? And Lewis said, no, I don't have girlfriends. She's a girl that is a friend, but she's not my girlfriend. So Nadia is just like, what is it? I feel like the cast treats Lewis so unnecessarily harsh. Like, don't get me wrong. Lewis is corny. He's very socially awkward, but he's harmless in the sense that you can tell his emotion. He wears his emotions on his sleeves, and they really do treat him like the redheaded stepchild. Like, nobody ever gives him grace. They're always like, just like attacking him. And it's like, sometimes y'all need to let up. Like, I was so glad he wrapped Fantana up at that table, because Fantana was trying to be cute, and Lewis made her feel this big, to the point where she got so mad she had to walk up out that thing cussing him out. And he's just looking at her like, and because they're sitting at the table, and Fantana was like, So do you like people for the way they look or their personalities? And he was like, I like them for both. And Fantana's like, so what is your type? Because you like everybody. And so then everyone's kind of laughing at Lewis at the table. And then Lewis kind of sat back and thought about it. He was like, so why is it my fault that I'm dating multiple women, but you dating a bunch of men? And then Keefe was like, he do got a point. So then Fantana was just like, well, yeah, but like pretty much trying to act like it wasn't the same. But I was like, girl, it is the same. It is the same. So then they then started getting into like an argument. I mean, an argument because Lewis basically said, girl, you talking trash about me, but can't nobody name three songs that you have performed. Because then Fantana starts talking about how Lewis's fashion brand is trash. And Lewis is like, no, my fashion brand is, featured in this country, in this country, in this country. What you got going on? And I said, well, he not lying, Fantana. He not lying because when Louis asks, I'm calling it Lewis. When Lewis asks Naked, like, can you name me 3 songs by Fantana? Fantana thinking like, of course he can name 3 songs by me. He has my mixtape. They show the Naked in the confessional. He's like, I can't. I don't really know. So girl, get on. Get the grinding. And I was not mad because you could tell that Fantana got embarrassed and started cussing Lewis out his name, like just calling him a broke bitch. Then she was like, well, you was in my DMs trying to talk to me. And he was like, yeah, because I wanted to sleep with you. And 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 she didn't really have a rebuttal. And then she was in the confessional being like, if Lewis was the last man on earth, I would drink my piss before I like had sex with him. I said, girl, I think Lewis has the hint. You was trying to get a dub on him and like dunk on him, and he basically made you look stupid and you look goofy at the table. So Fantana leaves in a huff and Nadia follows after her. So that scene was over. We then see, I think it was either episode 1 or 2 where Annie and Fantana meet up because no, I think it was episode 1 where Annie and Fantana meet up and Annie basically kind of tries to chastise Fantana for still being cool with Swanky because she's like, if you saw the way that he did me, why would you still be friends with him? And then she also brings up that like this man is calling my character into question and now my children are questioning me where they're like, why is Uncle Swanky saying that he won't release the voice notes based off of me and so my sister? Like what happened? What was said? And so Annie is really taken aback by that. So I don't know why Annie said that to Fantana because Fantana is like I mean blindly loyal and very loyal to Swanky and Nadia. So she ran back to Nadia and Swanky to download them on Annie's talking trash about Swanky. So now Swanky feels some type of way because he was like, I thought we was on a good place. I thought we were moving forward. We apologized last season and you still talking trash about me? I'm done. I'm over it. And so Nadia takes this time to be like, you know what? I got her number. So we end up seeing, I think Nadia and Swanky and Zari sit down to have dinner, and Nadia basically tells on Annie of all the nasty things she was saying at the wedding. And when I tell you Zari was pissed, because Zari said, girl, I invited you to my wedding. This how you do me? Okay. 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 I got one for her. She worried about my husband being young. At least my husband is young and he not 50 years old, messing with 20 something years old, having babies all across the country, all across the continent. Like I said, oh, it's about to get nasty. It's about to get nasty. And it did. Because in episode 3, it was up and it was stuck. Up and stuck. Because we see a sit down between, well, what was her name? Kiwi. I hate that I cannot say her name correctly. I think it's Kifi or Kiwi. I'm gonna just show her picture. We see a sit down between her and Annie. And Annie basically is telling her how it doesn't really want to fight with nobody anymore. Like everybody was coming at her and she don't want to do that anymore. She also, and this is why I said Annie is dangerous low key, because she sat there and tried to invoke the death of Nadia's boyfriend to say that that's why Nadia was behaving the way that she was behaving, and then her music wasn't doing well, so she's angry at the world. And that could be true, but also, girl, you have done things to people, and what, like, you expect them to treat you with like kid gloves? That's weird. I think was a part of episode 2 leading us into episode 3, but Kaylee ends up having a an event, and I think it was only Swanky, Zari, Fantana, Keefe, and Annie that came. And like Annie and Keefe came to the party together, and everyone's kind of noticing it. And they're basically kind of like, okay. And then you see Zari and Swanky get there, and then Fantana pulls up and Kylie's there. So they're sitting down and everything's kind of going okay. It's very awkward because Swanky and Zari are peeping how fake Annie is being, trying to hug on them and talk to them. And she's just like, Zari is getting pissed because she was like, I can't do this. So next thing you know, they sit down and Zari's like, you know what, Annie, I can't be fake. I'm about to, and when I tell you, she proceeds to tell Annie how she feels. She was like, how dare you come to my wedding talking all this trash about my husband being young, but your husband is 50 years old, having babies with 20 something year olds in all these different countries. Annie's only rebuttal was like, where are the babies? I said, girl, she just told you in all these different countries, and I believe her, because don't he got like 8 or 10 kids? I don't know. And so Annie was like, are you serious? Are you serious? And then she says Swanky's name because she expects Swanky to check Zari, but Swanky is pissed because he just found out from Fantana that, you know, you've been talking about her. You've been talking about him to her. So he's like, you can do this on your own. So then Zari said, girl, and Delay isn't here. Akani isn't here. Swanky and you not cool no more. You need to stand on your own 2 feet. And I said, oh. And so Annie's just getting angry. So then she directs her attention to Swanky being like, how, like, you not going to speak up for me? You going to let her disrespect me like that? Okay, I see how we going. And so then she goes back to season 2 where she's talking about like, you attacked my character. And so then Swanky gets angry where he's like, girl, the things that you said about me, I can't even go back home without possibly getting beat up, which makes me feel like it might be, you know, some homophobic stuff. Okay. That's what it's making me feel like. And Annie's like, produce the voice note. Let me hear the voice note. And I don't know if he has a voice note. I think it was more so that Swanky was on 3-way and he heard Annie say what she said. Annie just didn't know he was on the phone. So they're arguing back and forth. You know, Keefe is trying to get them to be silent. She was like, can we have a moment of silence? Zari gonna be like, who died? And Kiffi's like, are you serious? And Zari is like, why do we need a moment of silence? And then Zari's in her confessional being like, who is she, girl? When the legends are fighting, you be quiet. I said, oh. And then Kylie is trying to get them to calm down where she's like, can y'all chill? Can y'all, everybody, please chill. Please, 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 please. And nobody's doing it. They're just arguing back and forth. Annie's getting pissed. And Annie says, you know what? I don't got to be here no more. I don't want to be here no more. She grabs her things and she walks out. And what really, I think, pissed her off is Fantana lets it be known that she shared their her conversation with Annie, with Swanky. And now she feels like everybody ganging up on her. But I'm like, girl, you know, Fantana is like fiercely loyal to Swanky. You should have known she was going to run back and tell him what you said. So then Swanky and Zari go outside to sit down and have a conversation. And Keefe's still sitting at the table feeling some type of way, like, why did she give me that type of energy? And Kaylee's basically saying, girl, that's Zari. Don't even be bothered by her like that. And then even Fantana was like, I don't think she meant it like that. I really don't. I just think she was heated in the moment. So then outside, you see Swanky getting emotional where he's like, you know, I love her, but I can't be friends with her like that. And like, you don't understand the things that like she has said about me. And if he also goes on to say like, she can't never take accountability. Like if I did something wrong, I would say I'm sorry. And it's like, she just can't say she's sorry. And I can't take it. And Zari is just like, same, like I'm sick of her too. Everybody's sick of her. So I think still in episode 3, we finally see Diamond kind of mixing and mingling with the cast, but more so the men. He did have a conversation with Fantana, I think in episode 1 or 2. But honestly, Fantana, I want to like her, but she's such a bird and it irritates me because she was mad at Diamond after her and Zari got into it online. So after season 2 wrap, the way that the episodes were making it seemed like Zari and Fantana were dragging each other by their wigs on social media. And Zari was pissed at Diamond because Fantana was saying like personal stuff online. And so she's been real like, ugh, towards Diamond. But Fantana feels some type of way because I think she wanted Diamond to come out and like defend her, but he did not. And so she's also mad because he also had been kind of moving funny, like posted up with a bunch of girls, and they're supposed to be like some type of item, some type of relationship. But honestly, all Diamond has to do is play in Fantana's face, make her feel special. One like in one moment, her anger is gone. And it's like very annoying and it's dumb because it's like, girl, it's clear as day that this man is playing with you, making you feel crazy. And for some reason, you not understanding, and I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting frustrated. That's why I can't rock with her. So I think episode 3 opens up with everyone trying to like, or in episode 3 everyone was trying to apologize to Kaylee for their behavior. Like you have Zari actually going to visit Kaylee while she was like at soccer practice, cuz I forgot she's a professional athlete, isn't she? And then Swanky ends up saying when he gets the chance to see Kaylee the next time, he's definitely going to apologize for his behavior because they definitely ruined her event. Now, see, this is where I'm like, Annie, this is why people are tired of giving you grace, because instead of going to meet with Kaylee, because that was her event, you're going to talk to Naked and apologize through Naked. Girl, what? So we see Naked meet up with Annie, and she is like putting on the tears and on the waterworks. She's like very like going on and on about this voice note, and Naked is like holding her hand, and he's realizing that whatever he thought was like a silly fight at Kaylee's event wasn't really a silly fight. But even in this moment, it felt manipulative from Annie because, girl, people were calling you out on your bad behavior and you're turning on these tears because you're angry that you really don't have anybody to defend you. Because like Zari said at that table when she was arguing with her, you don't have a Connie, you don't have Ndile, because normally the two of them would stand beside Annie and like help her communicate her feelings. But now it's like, girl, you don't have those people and everyone's just tired of your behavior. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? And so Annie's crying. Naked is telling Annie, you got to let the whole voice note thing go away. But Annie is like, my children are questioning my character. Well, then have a serious conversation with them and explain to them your point of view. And if they determine from your point of view that you were in the wrong, then allow them to deal with that. But you going around trying to like force everyone to like be mad at Swanky and be on your side, that's not gonna happen, sis. It's just not. It's not. We also find out that unfortunately Annie had 2 miscarriages. Now on the thumbnail, it says like it's the summary that they give you on Netflix, they said something that happened in the past. I don't know if this happened on the off season or years ago, but Naked ends up saying like this is somebody who's lost 2 children and she's going through a lot. And so I'm like, did this happen recently? Or like I was just confused because they didn't flesh it out. And I am sorry to hear that she had a miscarriage, but it's just like it's just like I feel like people give Annie a pass because she presents herself as like this downtrodden woman, but I do think she is comfortable being a victim because it doesn't make her take accountability for her actions, you know? So the next scene we see is Naked throwing this like roller rink party. I don't know why everyone was dressed up in like 70s attire because I was like, I mean, I know people went roller skating in like the 70s like that, but I was like, did y'all really roller skate in Africa? And I got my answer, no, because all of them could, the only person who could skate, I think, was Fantana because she's actually like from America, but you know, she's African American, like African American, not like me, African American. You know what I'm saying? The difference. But she wasn't that good, but she still knew what she was doing. So the energy is kind of like funny in the group because everyone is somewhat like at odds. We see Lewis get there. Fantana not really trying to give him none of her attention. He don't really care, you know. And what's interesting is I don't remember what episode it was, but Naked, Lewis, and Diamond met up to go like Jeep riding in the safari, and why that when she talked to when Lewis was talking to Diamond, Diamond basically said that him and Fantana don't really got nothing going on, and that what it is just them being fuck buddies. And I said she did all that posturing at that table, trying to act like she's something important because she feels like her proximity to Diamond gives her something that this man is just going around telling everybody that he only with you for a good time, because later on, I think it was episode 4, we find out that he tells Shakib that like him and Fantana just having fun and her feelings are hurt. And I'm like, well, the writing is on the wall, sis. It's been on the wall. So Lewis is just kind of like, he don't know if he want to tell Fantana this business, because he's like, at first I would be like, hey girl, this what he said about you, but now that she done got on my bad side, I don't care what happens. You know, it's like a train wreck about to happen and I'm gonna watch. So we get back to the roller rink party, because that's what I was talking about. Everyone comes. The energy is kind of like funny. It's kind of funny. But we see Zari apologize to Keefe for the way that she spoke to her at Kaylee's event, and everyone's kind of shocked. Then Annie gets there, and the energy is kind of like weird. She says hello to Swanky, Nadia, and Fantana, and all of them. She sits by Fantana, and Annie is just like, I don't want to fight with nobody no more. That's not what I'm on anymore. I'm just gonna be here and talk to the people that I do want to talk to. Then this weird interaction between Annie and Zari happens where they hold hands, and Zari apologizes to Annie and Annie receives it. All the while, Fantana is sitting in between them, and they're doing this across, like over on top of her. And Fantana is like, I'm scared. I'm scared. Cause like, she's like, I don't know if they're going to throw hands. I don't know. Cause she was like, this is weird. I'm uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't like it. But they end up having a good time. Everyone skates. They fall in their butts. I think Keefe was the first one to fall. You then see Lewis fall, and Fantana ends up helping him up. And then when everyone kind of sits down again, Fantana ends up apologizing to Lewis, and they kind of move on, have a hug. And then we even see Lewis go and hug Naked when he just says, you know, we all going through stuff. We all have things that we're dealing with, and we need to be able to lean on each other. And that's why I feel like it's so annoying how mean they are to Lewis, because the fact that he was the only one that got up and hugged Naked, and it was just kind of like, that made it easier for everyone else to be like, okay, let me apologize, because he initiated it, you know. And it's just like, ugh, they just be treating him so badly, so badly. So I think at the end of that episode, what else happened, y'all? They apologized, the roller rink. Diamond said that thing about, oh, we actually see a sit down between Shakib and Diamond, because Shakib feels like Diamond is playing in his face, playing on his head, pretty much making it seem like he still got feelings for Zari and he could get her back anytime he wants. They have this sit down. Mind you, I feel like they should have took off their glasses, because when you're having a serious conversation, I want to look at somebody in their eyes. So basically, Shakib basically tells him, like, you know, I'm married to her. I'm gonna need you to start acting like it, because Diamond, I think, was doing a event or like a concert, and he basically got up on stage and said, "This song is dedicated to the mother of my kids." The crowd goes wild. Now Diamond tries to like, what's the word? Shrouded in, like, you know, it was just trying to hype up the crowd and stuff. But Shakib is like, nah, I don't care what it was for. Stop playing with me and my wife. Like, chill out, bro. Chill. And so Diamond is just like, okay, cool, I got it. But then Shakib brings up, like, I heard about this whole like surrogacy situation. And Diamond's like, what surrogacy situation? So then we find out that when it was Diamond and Zari's like youngest child, I think their little girl, she had a birthday and she said that she would like to have another baby, preferably it being a girl. And Diamond basically said, oh, we could do surrogacy. And she was down for it. But Diamond ends up saying that it was Zari that brought all of this up. And was trying to make it seem like she really wanted to have a baby with Diamond. Now Shakib is over here questioning his wife. And I said, if it was that easy for you to question your wife, why you married her? Either at the end of episode 3 or the beginning of episode 4, where Annie decides after the whole roller skating party and feeling like everyone was giving her the cold shoulder because Swanky wasn't talking to her, Nadia wasn't talking to her, Fantana wasn't really talking to her, and the only person she got an apology from was really Zari, and the only person she was talking to was Keefe. She's just like, I'm going back home to my man and my kids. And that's what she does. We also get this scene where Nadia actually, talks to Fantana. Fantana comes over to Nadia's house just to check up on her and see how she's doing. And we also find out that Fantana might possibly be pregnant. She's trying to act like, I don't know, like giddy, like she's giddy about it. And Nadia's like, girl, are you dumb? Like, are you serious? And she's like, this is not okay. Have you taken a pregnancy test? And Fantana's like, well, no, my period's like 2 weeks late. And she was like, it's not that serious. And Nadia says that's really serious, extremely serious. Like, no, 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 no. So then Fantana ends up asking Nadia how she's been. Fortunately, lost her boyfriend. I think he was unalived in London. And she's been struggling. I think it's almost been like 2 years, but you could tell that she's struggling. She starts to get really emotional. And she was like, I know I need to go to therapy, but I just feel like I got a lot to unpack and I'm just not ready. And she also talks about like how she was on suicide watch because everybody was really worried about her. Her boyfriend's mother actually came to the house and stayed with her for a month to make sure she was okay because they were really scared that something bad was going to happen. Her friends had like a schedule of checking up on her and staying with her. And like, I felt so bad. She started crying. And then next thing you know, Connie, who I've been waiting for, she pops up with flowers, basically saying that she could tell through Nadia posting online that the smile that she was putting on was fake and it wasn't her genuine emotions. And the reason why I started crying is because when Nadia hugged Connie, the way she started sobbing, I was in here like, oh my God. Like, that's like a real cry. And I felt so bad. And I love the fact that Connie was like, I can tell what's wrong. And she was like, girl, what's going on? And you could tell that Nadia just needed Connie to be there because the way she just fell into her arms and Connie just embraced her. And she was like, what are you scared of? And Nadia said the silence because she was with that her boyfriend. I think his name was Superstar. I hope that was his name. But she was with him every single day, and then like that he was gone. So she's just afraid. And Connie says, you got to sit in that fear. You have to deal with it. You have to sit in that silence. But when Connie was speaking, it makes sense why we're not seeing her because she talks about having burnout, having issues with her husband, having other emotional things going on, which makes me feel like she needed to take time away or she probably didn't want that to be a part of the season, but she better be back for season 4 and she better be full time. Okay. But I just thought that scene was very sweet. And then Nadia switches the energy to Fantana saying, she pregnant. She might be pregnant by Diamond. When I tell you, Connie's face said, what? Pregnant what? Like it was very much like it gave mom energy. Like she was like, girl, what? So then they call Swanky and and they tell Swanky said, oh, I'm calling your mom. And Fantana was like, please don't call my mama. And he's like, oh no, I am calling her. Cause what do you mean you're pregnant? What do you mean? So then the next thing you know, we see a group trip that they go on to go to the safari. They're at this really nice resort that Lewis is like the hostess of. The villa is really nice. Naked doesn't bring Kylie, even though Lewis is like, I told him to bring her, but he decides not to bring her and blame it on Lewis. But Lewis is like, I'll take the L. But it's definitely given that he wanted space from her. And I don't get why Kylie is a bird because I don't know why she wants to be with that man either because he don't treat her like he like her like that. He just treats her like a placeholder. Naked does not want to get married again. He does not want to get remarried because I think Kylie would be his third wife because I think one of his wives unfortunately passed away. Then he got remarried and then got a divorce. And now here he is with her. He don't want her like that. He don't want to do that. So everyone's admiring the villa. We see, what's her name? Kiwi. I keep wanting to call her Keefe, but I don't think that's her name. I think it's Keefe. I think it's Keefe. not Keefe. Y'all know who I'm talking about. We see her. She kind of giving off energy, and Naked and Lewis can tell, and they're like, "Are you okay? Like, what's up?" But she was getting on my nerves because she was prolonging it. I was like, just tell them people what's wrong with you, because you want them to care. So then everybody shows up. They all sit down, and everyone can tell that her energy is still off. We find out that she's going through a separation and a divorce, and it's really hard for her. Zari, Zari is the one that throws it out there. Y'all remember she going through a divorce. That's what's wrong. I said, shut up. So it's the next day, and they're on the safari. I want to go on one of those so badly. They saw giraffes. They saw like adolescent elephants, like male elephants. Like I was like, oh, that'd have been love. So they split up into two groups. So I think it's Lewis, Shakib, Nadia, and Fantana on a Jeep together, and then in the other Jeep is Keefe, Swanky, and Naked, and what's her name, Zari. So they're on there, and they start diving deeper into Keefe's relationship. Zari is so shady because at first it seemed like she was trying to be nice to Keefe and be like, I understand where you've been. Like my last husband started like, following me. He just didn't want me to move on. He'd be hiding under Ubers, like paying people to tell him where I was at. But I think it's kind of weird because I was with that man for 11 and 12 years. So I understood why it was hard for me, and I had children. But you and this man were only together for like 5 years, and y'all were dating. So I don't understand. So what we find out is Keefe has been married before, but decided to get with this man and become his second wife to try something new. And then we also find out this whole thing about this whole, like, I think it's, what is it called? Dowry, like her bride price. I guess something about cows. I was so confused where it seemed like she was putting on, like she took a picture with the cow. She had on like this fake ring to say that they were married, but they weren't married. That whole situation is weird because what it sounds like to me is that Keefe isn't really married to this man, but she might have been in the process of getting married, or maybe she was married, but like the relationship was already faulty in the beginning because you're his second wife and he still is married to a first wife. I don't know. I wanted them to flesh that out more, but the way that they was jumping when they were on the safari trucks, it was hard to like understand what they was talking about. It was annoying. So they leave the safari, and then I think the next scene we see is everybody being invited to Diamond's like party. We also get introduced to a new character called Edie Edo, where she is this like very notable actress, director from Nigeria and Swanky's friend. So Swanky decides to invite her to Diamond's party as her plus one. And Edie seems cool. Like she not here for the mess, and she ready to fight with the girls. Okay. It's Diamond's party. Nadia got an attitude because she saw something. Like she saw something online with Diamond and some girl kissing on each other, and she knows that Fantana might possibly be pregnant. She also knows about Diamond saying that Fantana and his relationship are not that serious because when they were on the safari, Shakib decides to take it upon himself and tell Fantana about what Diamond said about their relationship, basically saying that it's not that deep. And I was happy that Lewis wasn't the one to say anything because I felt like everyone was gonna like try to spin it like he was just trying to get Fantana back. But I'm glad he kept his mouth shut and he let Shakib do what he do, because Shakib ends up letting it be known that he talked to Diamond about their relationship, and Diamond said the same thing. So Fantana was feeling kind of stupid and embarrassed because like she's like, why are you going around telling people this? So at the party, while they chilling at the party, like Nadia's just giving Diamond like the cold shoulder and getting real irritated with him. Swanky ends up introducing Edie to all the ladies. I think it's Annie. No, no. I'm thinking about Edie, like little Edie, but I think it's Any Edo. Any Edo. Yeah, I think it's Any. So Any, it gets introduced to the whole entire cast, and Lewis is intrigued by her because we find out that she had a baby through surrogacy. Now, y'all know Lewis wants to have a family. And that's why I kind of get irritated with the cast for treating him so poorly. Because it's like, one, y'all know he got excommunicated from his family because of something that he did on Big Brother. And then he got excommunicated from the church, which is huge in his village. So he really doesn't have anybody. And he wants to create his own family. So it's like, yeah, he seems very socially awkward because he probably has only grown up in church. Okay, that's all he knows. And then he's also wanting to create his own family because his own family has ostracized him and abandoned him. So I wish they would be nicer to him. But basically, Lewis is very like, oh my gosh, like someone else who can understand what I would like to have, and like what I want. So they sit down at the table, and Nadia gets straight to it, where she's just like, she pissed off at Diamond because she was like, what I saw online, I have a problem with. And so Fantana is trying to act stupid. Everybody else is at the table kind of trying to act like they don't understand Nadia. But I was with Nadia with this blow up where she was like, y'all all trying to act like I'm stupid and I'm not. Y'all know that man was on social media kissing some other woman because Nadia ends up opening up the floor being like, Diamond, so where's your girlfriend? And everyone's like, isn't Fantana his girlfriend? And she's like, no, because I saw you on social media kissing some other broad. So what's up? And he was like, I'm Diamond. A lot of girls attach themselves to me. And was it a music video? Because then Fantana was like, I kiss guys in my music video. And Nadia was like, girl, that was not a music video. Stop trying to play me like I'm stupid. So she gets pissed, and rightfully so. And then we have the scene where Nadia, Diamond, and Swanky try to go have like a private conversation while dinner is happening. And Nadia's like, oh, okay, so this is what we doing. So y'all about to go and have this private conversation with him. Well, I'm not crazy. And Swanky was telling Nadia to relax. That would have pissed me off too, because I'd have been like, don't play in my face like this when I've been having your back this whole entire season. Okay? Because he ain't no good to her. So you gonna support him and treating her like crap? Yeah. So Nadia's just like, girl, I'm over this. I'm done. I'm done. And she just leaves. And that's the last part of the episode that I remember on episode 4. So far, the episodes they've been good. I was expecting more, but I'm also kind of annoyed because I thought I was gonna see more of a Connie, but we ain't seeing Connie. So I'm kind of annoyed and irritated. And I also didn't expect Annie to leave. So I did see online that Annie does come back, in the later episodes. But I was surprised because I was like, because I think Zari ends up saying, is she Annie's replacement? Now that she gone, and I said, Zari, I'll give Zari this. She's slick with that mouth, and she don't care who you are. She gonna say how she feels. And Annie was not impressed because Annie was like, oh, okay, girl, I see you. But that's the end of my ramble and my ranting. So remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely drop down in the comments below. And please share your thoughts with me and give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.